Today you join me on the bank of Long Lake at Coking Farm Fishery. We're in the heart of winter now and the cold and minus temperatures have really started to settle in overnight, and today is the first time in a long while where those temperatures have looked to increase up to around that 10-degree mark. And for me, that means one thing: getting on the bank and trying to maximise that mild spell. Now, Long Lake on Coking Farm is one of their more higher stock venues, so there's a really good chance of a bite today. The main aim is to bring out the Black Widow G50 rods and put them through their paces. The G50 label itself is iconic under that Black Widow name. The first ever affordable set of carp rods to feature a 50mm butt guide, and as we know, that 50mm butt guide really helps with getting those extra yards on your casts. The only model not to feature the 50mm butt guide is the 10-foot, where the 40mm butt rings are a standard. Well, that didn't take long at all. I'd just seen a fish just swirl off the point of the island over there to my right. And it really didn't take long for it to end up ripping off. And we're into the first fish of the day. And I tell you what, it really is great fun playing the fish with these rods. As you can see, it's absorbing every single lunge as a fish tries to run off down this margin. I feel like it's got plenty of power to absorb those lunges and also to turn the fish's head if you do need it to get away from any snags whilst you're in the fight. The rods today I've actually paired up with the Black Widow 25A reels. The perfect sort of setup. If you're going for the 10-foot editions, I would definitely recommend a reel of this size. Perfect combination for these sort of venues. This fish is really giving a good scrap underneath the rod tip. This is where this action of the rod is absolutely perfect. Nice and soft to just absorb those lunges. But like I say, plenty of power if you do need to turn it away from any snags like these reeds here, just in the side. Lovely linear. Lovely looking linear. Yes! Lovely jubbly. Well, what about that then for a fish to start? Just reposition that right hand rod towards the island where I just saw a subtle sign of a fish show, and within probably 10-15 minutes it was away. And what a fish that is to show. Any fish at this time of the year is an absolute result when you're on the bank during these colder months. Let's slip her back in, hopefully get a few more. Now, the lakes here at Coking Farm, they're not massive. It's more about casting 30 to 40 yards towards islands, overhanging trees, and also a bit of margin fishing. So that's why I've got with me the 10-foot 3-pound test curve models, and they are perfect for that style of fishing. It's got enough backbone that if I want to switch over to solid bags later throughout the session, if the bites aren't starting to come, then I'm more than capable of doing so. There's a nice backbone in there to really get those solid bags out. Also in the range, you have 4 12-foot options. You've got them ranging from 2 3/4 pounds all the way up to 3.5 pounds, and there is also a 12-foot 4.5 pound test curve dedicated spod rod, and that's for your venues where you want a bit more range or a bit more flexibility in the rods that you've got. That 12-foot will suit the majority of venues. This milder weather has really started to bring the carp on the feed. We've just had the sun come out for the first time. Just trying to get round to the right hand margin, gonna have to bully it back a little bit. Trying to get in the reeds. Trying to get right in those reeds. Come back. Yeah, turned it. It's in. Yes. Second fish of the day. Well, what about that then? That is an absolutely stunning carp. Linear scale pattern, absolutely gorgeous. And the weather's turned, it's looking good for a few more bites now. Second fish of the trip, and those Black Widow G50s are an absolute dream to play these fish on. Let's slip her back and see what the afternoon brings. Well, what are the features of the Black Widow G50 rods? Well, to start with, they're made on a lightweight carbon blank and they have a really great fish plating action, really absorb those lunges under the rod tips, but also enough backbone and power in the rod to get out on those casts. Now, moving along, we have stainless steel guides which feature LS ceramic rings inside, and as we move down the rod, we have a screw-in style reel seat, finished off with a fully shrink grip handle down to an aluminium butt cap, and then subtle Daiwa and Black Widow branding along the length of the rod. We're not far off the end of the session now. We've got probably enough for 20 minutes, half an hour before we start losing the light. But it's been a good session so far, putting the Black Widow G50s through the paces, and when they try to kite down the margin, like every single one has done so far, enough power in the blank, in the butt section to sort of bring those fish back round. Just hooked in the bottom lip. Beautiful. Wow, what a trip it's been. Wow, what about that for a fish? A 20-pound mirror on a winter day session, and that's what winter is all about for me. Trying to find those fish with single hook baits, and then once you find them, introduce a bit of bait and you never know what can happen. Get in. If you've enjoyed the video and you want to check out the Black Widow G50 rods for yourself, then head over to your local Daiwa stockist.